Hi, welcome to the Three Times podcast. Today my guest is Stephen Fry, a musician born in Tynemouth who now lives in Tynedale and who can trace his roots in folk music back several generations. Stephen is a familiar face in Northumberland music circles through his solo performances, appearance at folk sessions and his membership of Hexham band The Cherry Pickers. I asked Stephen to talk about the family of instruments known as squeezeboxes, the most familiar of which are the concertina, melodeon and accordion. And what follows is testament to his encyclopaedic knowledge of open reed instruments, illustrated by his masterful playing of several examples from his own collection. You can find some of Stephen's music on SoundCloud under the name Stephen W. Fry or Highford, where recordings include several traditional tunes and music hall songs. You can find out about the Cherry Pickers gigs by following the band on Instagram with the tag The Cherry Pickers Hexham. Stephen has been instrumental in recording some of the most familiar names in traditional folk music for The Tradition Lives On, a fascinating CD and DVD celebrating the music culture of North Tynedale and Redesdale. You can order them both online from Northern Heritage at www.northern-heritage.co.uk. Stephen has also recorded, with guitarist Peter Stenhouse, a collection of well-known songs from the 19th and 20th centuries. The CD, called So Far, is not widely available, but if you come across a copy, you'll find a reminder of the humour and warmth that is a feature of many popular songs.
The Frys have been in Tynemouth since 1792, when William Hudson Fry arrived on a ship which went into dry dock up the Tyne, and he had a couple of weeks to kill, so he asked the captain if he could take the boat and rowed down to Tynemouth. And he came across the Haven in Tynemouth and thought, what a lovely place this is. And he went back the next day, and someone asked if he would take them out fishing in his little rowing boat, and he did. And by the time he was due to go back to join the ship, he decided he didn't want to be on the ship anymore. He wanted to set up in business on the Haven in Tynemouth, and he did. And from then on, he built more boats, and he started a pleasure boat business. And that pleasure boat business was in the Fry family for another 150 years until 1950-ish, when it was in my father's hands. And he sold it then because of ill health. But the Fry name became very popular, and so popular in Tynemouth that I came across a music hall song, which mentioned Fry. If I can remember it, I'll do it for you. And then later on, I was performing at a concert where Johnny Handel was on the bill, and he said to me in the green room, he said to me, "You're Fry, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "There's a song about your ancestors." I said, "Oh, what's that?" He said, he says it's called The Pride of the Haven, Ned Fry. And it's all about my great-great-grandfather, who had the boats on the Haven. And someone had written this music hall song about him. It didn't have a tune, so I thought of a tune and bit of it. Well, I was born and bred in Tynemouth, and I'll live here till I die, where everything is sea neat and sea clean. And I'm from a well-known family, my name is Ned Fry, and my boats, they are the best that's ever been. And you should see them in the water when the waves are mountains high. You should see them in the water when it's high. And you'll never hear the boat's gone down if she's been built in Tynemouth by the pride of the Haven, Ned Fry. Well, I've swum around the Haven and I've saved the lives of some, that might have met an awful watery grave. And I shouldn't have walked in factory where smoke is fleeing up. To me that life is nae more than a slave. And you should see them in the water when the waves are mountains high. You should see them in the water when it's high. And you'll never hear the boat's gone down if she's been built in Tynemouth by the pride of the haven, Ned Fry. Well, to hear the seagulls yell, it's music to me ears, and the canny little laddies as they cry. Oh, father, gives a sixpence, and I'll gan and have a boat out from the pride of the haven, Ned Fry. And you should see them in the water when the waves are mountains high. You should see them in the water when it's high. And you'll never hear the boat's gone down if she's been built in Tynemouth by the pride of the haven, Ned Fry. And I'm the pride of the haven, Ned Fry.
Stephen Fry, thank you for talking to Three Times Podcast. Can you tell me how you got into music?
Yeah, I seem to have always been into music. I was always in bands when I was a kid, when I lived in Tynemouth, at the youth club in the village. In those days, I played the drums. My brother, elder brother, 4 years older, he played the guitar, and he actually made his own guitar. So we played together quite a lot, just at home, in the days of Hang On Sloopy. I always remember that. Me on drums and him on guitar. And then various bands were formed in the youth club, and I was still on drums then. Actually, another band that used to rehearse there later became Lindisfarne, and I was tentatively interviewed for a job as their drummer, but it didn't lead anywhere. And then time passed. I got married in 1970, and I started spending, ironically, more time with my brother than I did when I lived at home. And he was going to folk clubs. He was going to the folk club at the Percy Arms in Tynemouth. Folk club's no longer there. And I started going with him, just sort of a once a week sort of get together with him, really. And I really liked this folk music. So that was 1970. One thing led to another, and we ended up helping to run a folk club in Cullercoats at the Bay Hotel. By then, my brother had taught me a few chords on the guitar, and we were doing an Everly Brothers tribute act. But it wasn't long after that I started to realise that just about everybody who got up on the stage sang and played the guitar, and I've always liked being a bit different. So I looked around for another instrument to play, and some friends of ours at the folk club, they had a vintage music shop in Whitley Bay, and in stock they would have concertinas and mandolins and accordions. And one day they turned up with a concertina. It's the one I'm going to show you later. I'm still playing it now. And they said, "We've just got this into stock. If you're interested, you can have it for what we paid for it." I said, "What is it?" And they showed me, and it was an English concertina. I had dabbled in concertinas before that. I knew what they were. So I said, "Well, how much is it?" And they said, "Well, we paid £70 for it." I said, £70? That was an awful lot of money in the 70s, you know. But I was persuaded to buy it, and I did. And it's a good job I did, because it's now worth about at least 3,000, probably more, probably about 4,000. So that was my introduction to squeezeboxes. And I never went back to the guitar after that. Since then, I've discovered the whole gamut, the whole world of squeezeboxes. Yeah.
There aren't many Everly Brothers tracks that are known for their concertinas.
No.
So what kind of music were you playing at the time?
Well, I was well into traditional folk music by the time I started on the concertina.
Yeah.
We'd formed a little band at the Bay Folk Club, a little Cayley band. It was very fashionable to call yourself a Cayley band, so we didn't. We called ourselves the Bay Folk Band. And there were people like, you might not know, Chris Ormston is a wonderful Northumbrian piper, lives in Ovendrum. He's probably the best there is. He lived in Whitley Bay and he was in the band. We had 5 or 6 musicians, and we'd just go out for fun. I was on concertina, and I had an accordionist, guitarist, pipes, Yeah, the Everly Brothers stuff got laid by the wayside, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I was really keen on traditional folk music.
But the transition from guitar to concertina is not the natural one. Did you have any sort of keyboard experience before then?
I
or?
took piano lessons when I was a kid, but not for long, because I'd be going to my piano lessons with my little briefcase, and I'd have to pass the football field, and all my mates would say, "Oh, Steve, are you not playing football today?" And I said, "No, I've got to go to piano lessons." So I soon gave it up. But it was enough to teach me the rudiments.
Yeah.
A lot later than that, I did an Open University degree, and that included some more music. But that was a lot later. So I do know the way around music.
So, as I understand it, and my understanding of the instruments is very poor, when you play a concertina-like instrument, your left hand is doing the bass line and your right hand is doing the melody, as on the piano in simple terms.
Only
right?
in one type of concertina.
Oh, right. Well, this, before we go any further then, this draws us on to my next question.
Yeah.
Can you deconstruct the family of concertinas?
I can. I was hoping you'd ask me that. Can I just get up and get hold of
Do.
some? Right, so the first one I ever got, it's a toy really, but I was curious to see how it worked. Now this is the kind that you made reference to, where you do one thing on one side and another thing on the other side.
Right.
Now as I said, this is a toy, so it's going to sound rubbish. But the expert on this is Vic Gammon, who just lives up the road actually.
Yeah.
So you would go, oh, you go. Just like the harmonica, just like blow and suck on the harmonica.
Yeah, right.
Which is okay, and it's quite easy to learn to play. But it's not very easy to play tunes on. No. Apart from being a toy.
Yeah, it seems quite stiff. Is that the...
it is, yeah. It's just a cheap thing.
Yeah.
But I also came across a vintage one, which was much better. But then I came across the English concertina. So that's a different note on push and pull.
Right.
The English concertina is the same note on push and pull. And this is the one that I bought way back in the 1970s and I'm still playing today. So with this one... Oh. Same note on push and pull.
Right, okay. So when you say push and pull, for the people who can't see, push and pull means squeeze and pull apart.
Yeah. And the great advantage of this is you can play it much quicker, and you can also get chords by selecting, because these, well, going from side to side to do a scale, you go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, climbing a ladder.
Yeah.
And down again. So because of that, the three notes together make the chord.
Right.
So great for singing too.
Yeah. And you can't make a chord on that other
You
one.
can.
Oh, you can.
But very limited. You've only got about 4 chords available on that.
Oh, I see, right.
Whereas this plays everything that the violin can play.
Yeah.
So you can take fiddle music and you can read it straight off and play it on here.
Oh, right, I can see the appeal for that. And on this one, on either side, you have an array of what looks like 24
Yeah, you're
pins.
right. There are 48 buttons.
Yeah. And on the first one you showed me, there are 20.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't explain that. When you get an Anglo concertina, it's only available to play in 2 keys. Usually C and G. Oh, that's telling me out of tune. So you play any 3 buttons together and you get the chord.
Right.
So you can only use this one in the keys of C or G.
Yeah.
And once you're in, because you know about music, when you're in the key of C, you need F and you need G as well, and they're all there. And when you're in the key of G, you need the D and the C as well. But that's all you get with that one. You can get hold of them with 3 rows, which gives you an extra key, but fairly limiting for singing, whereas I can sing in any key with that one.
So the first one you showed me is that you called an Anglo concertina.
Anglo, yes. It's called the Anglo concertina. It was actually invented in Germany but it was adopted a lot in England. The first concertina to be patented in England was the English concertina, which was invented by a chap called Charles Wheatstone, who was a physicist who discovered the Wheatstone Bridge. I don't know if you haven't studied electronics.
I have not discovered that, no.
Yeah, and he was an inventor and a physicist, and he was just sort of playing around, really. He wanted something smaller than an accordion, and that's what he invented, and it's absolutely brilliant. You know, the design and the fingering and the way you can play it fast or slow, and that was in 1829. He patented that, and the Anglo concertina was patented shortly after that, in 1934 in Germany. As well as those two, there was another one which I haven't got, which is called a duet concertina. And with that one, you go umpa accompaniment on the left, and you play the melody exclusively on the right, like a piano accordion. And those are the 3 types of concertina that I know about. I don't think there are any more.
So what is the definition of a concertina that distinguishes it from, for example, a melodeon and an accordion?
Right, well, I would have to demonstrate the melodeon to you. The melodeon is from the same family as the Anglo concertina. The same, different note when you push and when you pull.
Right.
And the same family as the harmonica. So this is a melodeon here. This might sound very loud on the recording.
It's bigger than the other two.
Yeah, it's bigger. It only plays in 2 keys. The key of C and the key of G. But it's quite easy to play. So you get a different note push and pull. But as I say, only in 2 keys. So people who specialise in melodeons normally have to carry around about 3 different melodeons.
And that's a substantial instrument, isn't it?
It is, but it's very sort of primitive, you know, it's just got a very primitive bass.
But it does have a nice tone, doesn't it? Because it's larger for the bass.
And it's German. Used a lot by Morris dancers.
Yeah, I recognise it. I recognise it now. Yeah. So whereas the Anglo and the English concertina are octagonal, or is it hexagonal? Hexagonal.
They're usually octagonal. This one's a special one.
Oh, right. Okay. So they're hexagonal.
Yeah.
That one is more box-like.
It is. Yeah. It's also referred to as a diatonic accordion on the continent. It's only in England where we call it a melodeon for some particular reason. And then if you go to Ireland, there's another instrument which they call the melodeon, which is this one. And this one only plays in 1 key, but it's got 4 voices. This one is only playing in C. So that is just a harmonica with the bellows.
Right, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? And on one side of that you've got the buttons that we've seen before, but slightly differently arranged.
The whole scale of C.
And engineered,
Yeah.
And in your left hand you've got
the
2
basic chords, C and G.
Yeah. Right. So you're lifting. What do you call those?
Spoons.
Spoons. You're lifting 1 spoon for one tone and 1 spoon for the other tone.
Yeah. C, G, C. And you can hardly go wrong if you play a melody to that. Because the bellows does it for you. It's fairly basic.
Yeah, it sounds lovely, mine, doesn't it? I do like that sound.
Yeah.
This is interesting. You mentioned the harmonica a moment ago.
Yes.
When I was doing some basic reading up about this group of instruments,
yes,
I was surprised to see that the harmonica is part of it, and it's because
indeed.
They're all reeded instruments.
They are. They're all called free reed
instruments. And I was wondering then about the kind of similarity that there might be between these and the small pipes, which is, after all, is another reeded instrument.
It is,
but with different kind of
the small
bellows,
pipes.
essentially.
Yes.
So is there much overlap in musical repertoire between these?
There certainly is with the concertina, but not because of that reason, just because, well, an interesting fact actually, the Northumbrian pipes and the English concertina are the only indigenous English instruments that I've heard of. Has to be the English concertina, and it has to be the Northumbrian small pipes. Northumbrian small pipes are slightly different to other pipes, because pipes are played all around the world, of course. I don't know a lot about Northumbrian pipes, but you may have noticed they have a kind of a staccato sound. And I think someone told me they have a blocked chanter.
That's right, yeah.
And they're designed for playing indoors, whereas most other European pipes, and especially the Scottish Highland pipes,
You don't want to play them indoors, do you?
very much designed for playing outdoors.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the reason, that's this kind of association. They are both reed instruments and both free reed instruments, yes. The harmonica was around longer, it was around before any of these. And before that, about 2,000 years ago, the Chinese had an instrument called a sheng, which was a square box that you blew into, and it had different lengths of bamboo. And that was really the great-great-granddaddy of the harmonica.
So they provided the force to make the note from their breath, whereas now it's bellows.
Bellows, yeah.
Of one variety or another, yeah.
And the Northumbrian pipes, they have a bag, of course, which is pumped from a bellows on the other side. Highland pipes and a lot of the European pipes, they're blown into. So the Northumbrian pipe, sometimes referred to as the cold wind pipe, the card wind pipe.
Yeah. There are another two in this family.
Yeah.
The bandonium.
Yes. The bandonion is like a big version of the concertina. However, there are sort of subgroups of bandonion as well. They sound very nice, and they were used a lot for tango in Buenos Aires.
That's right.
Lovely instrument. I've seen them played several times. And in my opinion, they're probably not as hard as they look to play. Very like a concertina, but with a much bigger sound. I think they've got 2 reeds for every note, as has the melodeon.
Yes.
And this melodeon has 4 reeds for every note. So the more voices you've got, the louder they are.
That's a question of volume, not the number of notes that you can play simultaneously.
Correct, yeah.
Right.
But you won't come across the bandonion very often in this country.
No.
I've only ever been to about 3 concerts where there's been a bandonion player. Yeah. But I've been in Spain before, where I've seen bandonions played. Yeah, they were used for the tango in Argentina.
So I think everybody will be familiar with the sound if they remember the tango. They'll recognise the sound
of the
bandonion. Yeah.
They will indeed, yeah. I mean, it sounds very like an accordion, actually, but it has huge bellows, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a kind of a romantic thing, I think. And tango, you may or may not know, was invented in the bordello areas.
It's a very exotic dance, I know that. Yeah.
And the sailors would dance with the ladies of the night.
Yes.
Yes. Very sensual.
And except on Some Like It Hot, of course, when it's very funny.
That's right. Great film. Oh, great film. Yeah.
And so continuing our progression.
Yes.
And I'm going to make a step backwards in a moment. But the other one that I've come across in this family is the harmonium, which is a floor-mounted keyboard instrument.
Yes, it is. Yes.
But it's said to be in the same family.
It is in the same family. Yes. You play it with a pedal that produces the air. And the air goes through the reeds, and you press a key, and the air goes through that one reed at a time, or several at a time. Yeah, same family, harmonium, yeah.
So the step back I would like to take is to what I would know as an accordion, which is one of these amazing mother-of-pearl encrusted instruments that look like the back of a car, those
massive
kind of things.
Aren't they?
That is an accordion.
Yeah, I've got 2 accordions here to show you.
Lovely.
I don't actually play the piano accordion much. I use it more for working out songs on rather than turning on the keyboard. It's nice because you can see what you're doing all the time, you know. If you know anything about keyboards, you play a chord of C there, and you find the button with the dimple in it, and that's the bass for C. So there's a chord of C, F, C, G. It's very straightforward, and I think that's one of the reasons they're the most popular of all squeeze boxes, piano accordions.
Yeah, and presumably the volume too, because it cuts through if you're in a band setting, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot of volume. And that's only on one voice, on two voices. So it's not very cool, the piano accordion.
No, but it's always such an impressive instrument, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you say it's simple, but actually to the layperson like me, it looks quite complicated. What's the range on this keyboard?
That's a bottom B, well not a bottom B, but from a B.
Yeah.
It's about 2 octaves, I think. You've got an octave there and an octave there.
And on the other side where the buttons are?
You've got 48 buttons, but that doesn't cover all the keys. If you really want to know, that's C with one with a dimple.
Yeah.
C, F, B flat, E flat. And down at the bottom, you've got E, A, D and G. Now, the ones that you referred to earlier, you can have 120 bass notes, which covers everything, you know. But you don't really need that for folk music.
No. I don't wonder if you need 120 bass notes or any kind of music, really.
It makes it simpler. But then what I'd like to show you is the one I play a bit, which is called the chromatic button accordion. And inside, it's the same as this. But on the outside, it's ingenious. It has a button keyboard.
And this is a very stylish black instrument.
Oh, yes. But quite small.
Yeah.
Not much bigger than the melodeon, really. And the great thing about this is you play a chord and you move that same shape up. So once you've learnt the pattern,
you
can just transfer it. That was a scale of C followed by a scale of A. And I use this one quite a lot for song accompaniment. Come listen to me song, me lads, and hear me tell me tale, how across the seas from England I was condemned to sail. Well, the jury says he's guilty, and the judge he says he, oh, for life, Jim Jones, I'm sending you across the stormy sea.
Sounds lovely, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And that's just on one voice. If I put 2 voices on, it's twice as loud. I've had this for a number of years and I hardly ever take it out of the house.
Now, you're calling this an accordion,
yes,
but it doesn't have a keyboard.
No,
for your right
it's called
hand,
a chromatic button accordion. The button bit is obvious. The chromatic bit is because it plays in every key, just like the English concertina can, and the accordion bit is obvious as well. You don't see many of these in this country. They're mostly played on the continent. And the other name is the continental accordion. Just to make it more complicated, there are 2 types. This one's called a C, I think they say C griff accordion. On the continent, they play one called a B griff accordion, especially in Russia. Whereas this one progresses like this, watch. Can you see it going up like that, sideways?
Yeah. So you're playing 3 buttons in sequence up the...
Yeah, and those extra 2 rows on the top, they're for the convenience of your fingers. Sometimes it'll be too tricky to get that button there, so you can play that button there instead.
All right, yeah.
The Russian one is the exact mirror opposite. So you start there and go that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work on this one, of course, but I prefer the C one. Played a lot in Scandinavia, the C type, and also in France, almost exclusively in France. This instrument was made in Italy, and it's a lovely instrument. I love it.
They're ingenious instruments, aren't they? I can't imagine how somebody would sit down and design that instrument. Because it must be so complex.
Just the bass alone. The bass is called a Stradella bass, and it's used on all accordions. It's called Stradella because it was invented in a town called Stradella in Italy. And it means that it's arranged in the circle of fifths. So that's C. Yeah. My fingers there playing chords in C. Yeah. And if I go up one, it goes to the fourth, F. Yeah. But if I go down one, it goes to the C. And that's the same for any song in any key. Yeah. So let me think. I'll do it in A. Yeah. As a broken-hearted collier, and I'm our heed in love with a young lass from Gateshead, and I call her me dove. Her name's Cushy Butterfield, and she sells yellow clay. And her uncle is a muckman, and they call him Tom Gray. See how the chords are related, just like on the guitar. So you take those three buttons and transfer them anywhere, and you get the same effect. And that applies to the piano accordion as well.
So when you were playing, if you were playing that in a say a club, and you were doing that with your left hand, as you did just then, you could complement that with your right hand.
Melody. Well, that song I just showed you there. Just to demonstrate it.
Yeah. In a typical folk session, one of these spontaneous ones that you come across in pubs.
Yeah.
How would that complement the music played by a fiddle?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Either the piano accordion or the chromatic button accordion would be perfect.
Yeah.
In fact, there are a lot of duos going around the country who do just that. The best one is Phil Cunningham and Ali Bain. Ali plays the fiddle and Phil plays the box. And it's all you need, really. They do come to Hexham sometimes, and I always go and see them at the Sage as well. They've been touring together a long, long time. But yeah, and he's got an electronic addition to the bass end of his accordion, which gives it the sound of a piano vamping. So instead of umpa on the reeds, you get a lovely bass chord dum ching sound.
Oh, right.
It's cheating a bit, but putting the pianists out of work. But it's all you need, really. Very popular in Scotland. In fact, there's a magazine called The Box and Fiddle, which talks about nothing else.
So there would be no place, really, for the Northumbrian pipes, would they? Because they're a quiet instrument. They would not compete very well with these.
Well, you do get them in sessions, especially in Northumberland.
But I mean, if a group of people were playing together, it would be quite difficult to hear the pipes at the same time.
Yeah, except there's a certain stigma about bringing an accordion into a session, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, they prefer more portable instruments, which means smaller instruments.
Yeah.
You don't get many accordions in sessions.
So you'd be talking about a
concertinas, fiddles, mandolins, flutes.
Oh, right. Surprise.
Yeah, and guitars. There's a lovely session at the Tap and Spire in Morpeth every Sunday lunchtime. I haven't been for years now, but that's a good example of a session that only has sort of lightweight instruments. Yeah. The accordion would drown it out.
Yeah. So we've been looking at the Anglo concertina, the English concertina, what was that one there?
Melodeon.
The melodeon, melodeon, and the accordion.
The chromatic button accordion.
The chromatic button accordion. Yeah. Some of these instruments are made out of plastic, others have metal. Is that a metal embellishment or is that a metal body too?
That's a metal grill, that's detachable. They're nearly all made of wood.
Right.
Even this one has just been lacquered. And the end bit might be plastic, but this is lacquered wood. Yeah, they're all basically made the same way, just variations on a theme.
Yeah.
You know.
And the bellows are made of leather?
Yes, usually leather.
And are there special tones to be had from different woods and bellows, as is the case with guitars and tone wood and such like?
I don't think so. There's a technique which the Italians use, which has an extra resonance chamber, which you pay a lot more for. But that's about all that I know of. Actually, the English concertina has so many hundreds moving parts in it, and you can tell it's superbly pure sound. And they can't afford to make them anymore, because this was made in... Well, this particular one was made in the early 1900s when labour was quite cheap. To assemble something like this now would cost a lot, probably about 10,000 quid, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this was last tuned about 20 years ago. And you tune them, by the way, by taking the reeds out and filing a bit off to make it sharper, or adding a little bit of lead to the other end to make it flatter.
That sounds like a very skilled process.
Right, it is, yeah. And there aren't that many people who do it anymore.
No.
But, I mean, listen how... Hasn't been tuned for over 20 years. They were made to last.
Well, that stays in tune better than my guitar, that's for sure.
They do still make them, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a huge long waiting list. There's probably only about 6 people in the country making them. Yeah. And they take so long to assemble. And I think you're better off buying a vintage one like this if you can afford it, which is what I did. But one day I thought to myself, what happens if that concertina goes wrong? Because I play in a band, I don't know if you know the Cherry Pickers with Penny. I thought, if that goes wrong, I'll not be able to perform. And it was at the time when we were getting quite a few bookings. So I thought, I better have a spare. So I went down to a place near to Stoke-on-Trent called something concertinas. Anyway, there's this guy there who has more concertinas on his premises than the rest of the world put together.
Really?
Barleycorn concertinas. And you go down there, you make an appointment and you go down. And honestly, I was like a kiddie in a sweet shop. A room about the size of these 2 rooms, all shelves, all humidity controlled, all temperature controlled. And he said, well, what do you fancy, you know? So I told him about the situation. I want something like that. And he showed me 3. He said, take your pick from any of these. And this is the one I came away with, which is very similar to the one I have played all these years, but it's got more buttons.
Oh, wow.
So it goes lower. Ah, wrong. So it's the big brother of that one, really. That's a treble concertina, and this is a tenor treble. And I've had this about 3 years, and I've never taken it out, and I don't know if I really need it, to be honest.
It's always handy to have a backup, isn't it?
It was a big investment at the time, but I'll probably never part with it. It'll probably see me out.
So you mentioned that in the shop there, humidity and temperature control. Are they a bit temperamental?
They are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Because all the reeds are set in wax.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah. And some of the reeds are made from brass. Mine aren't. Mine are made from mild steel, but they do get corroded if they get too much humidity on them. Yeah. So there's lots can go wrong. So I do treat mine very carefully. Yeah.
So that must have been a problem when you lived in Tynemouth then. With the salty air.
Yes, I suppose it was. As long as you always put it away in the box, and I always do. I don't keep them on display. I put them away in the box and make sure they're not in a room that is too hot. Yeah, no, I've been okay so far. Because, like I say, it's a big investment. Yeah, I love them. I'm obsessed by them.
Well, for somebody who wants to find out more about concertinas and concertina music, could you point them in the right direction?
Yeah, there was actually a great lecture last month given by Vic Gammon. Oh, there it is. I know it's past now, but he'll probably be doing it again. Because believe it or not, there is a World Concertina Day. And it was Thursday the 6th of February. So Vic Gammon, who's the acknowledged expert on all sorts of things, folky, but knows his way around concertinas, he put on a concert at the library at the Queen's Hall. And for the first hour, he talked about concertinas, their history, their types and their uses. And then for the second hour, he had a few of us demonstrating the concertinas. There was Alex Wade, who's a professional player, Rob Say from Wall, and me. We 3 all play English concertina, and Vic plays the Anglo-German concertina. But anyway, that concert and lecture has passed. However, anybody who was interested, they can always get online and go to the International Concertina Association. Or there's another website called concertinas.com. just Google it, as usual.
Yeah.
All sorts of information. Anybody who wanted to buy a concertina is a bit stuck really around here. There's one chap who operates out of Sunnyside near Gateshead, and he's called Theo Gibb, and he has a business. It's called the Box Place. He's a very clever guy. He deals mainly in melodeons, but he gets them in and he does them up in a perfect condition and sells them. And he has a few concertinas as well. Apart from that, even for accordions, you have to either go to Scotland or down to as far as Halifax and York before you find anybody selling accordions.
Yeah, for such a popular instrument.
Yeah.
I mean, every time you go in and see a pub session, somebody's got a squeezebox.
Yeah, I don't understand it really. I've often thought of opening a shop myself, but didn't get round to it. The other member, of course, is the harmonica. Would you like to know a little bit about
Well,
that?
yes, I would. I didn't know that you played harmonica too.
Yeah. I haven't always played harmonica. And there are two different kinds of harmonica. There's the diatonic harmonica.
And a chromatic one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the harmonica came before the accordions, 1821, in what is now known as Germany. The diatonic harmonica is used mostly for blues, people like Paul Jones, and because it's got a very special layout. You can't do a complete scale without learning how to bend some of the notes because they're not all there. But it's just blow and suck. G. Oh, it's a bit... it gets blocked up. Every kid's tried that, I'm sure. But once you get the technique... That's the classic sort of blues sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the diatonic harmonica. And again, you need one in every key. That one plays in G. Whereas the chromatic harmonica, most people have one in C because that's just like a keyboard. It's got all the notes there. Easy to play in C, of course. But if you want to do something like... So you push the button in and you get a semitone up.
Well, that's cunning, isn't it?
So everything is there. That's the kind of thing that Stevie Wonder plays.
Yeah.
And very portable, of course. Yeah. I use that quite a lot with the cherry pickers these days, as my instruments seem to be getting heavier. But yeah, that came along, the harmonica came along before any squeeze boxes.
Well, you can see how it might evolve, mightn't you, from that being the kind of instrument that somebody would carry around with them to play whenever they had the opportunity. And then somebody thought, well,
we'll put the bellows on.
Put some bellows on, make a bit more power.
Yeah.
Maybe they saw the pipes and thought, well, we can adapt that. And it grew from there.
I'm sure they did.
Well, it's a very impressive array of instruments, and they have lovely tones too.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. So could you play us a piece on your instrument of choice?
Yeah. The English concertina, the smaller one, is the one I use most of all. And it's good for things like hornpipes. So here's a Northumbrian hornpipe called Proudlock's hornpipe, followed by another one that I'm sure you'll know. What was the second one called?
It's Captain Pugwash.
Yeah.
Takes us back to BBC Black and White, early 1960s.
Yeah.
Who can forget?
Yeah. So that was the English concertina. I've got another melodeon here, which is the same as that one, but it's got 3 different rows. Allows me to play in the keys of G, D, or A. So this is a tune on the 3-row melodeon. This is a Morris tune called Winster Gallops. Winster Gallop.
That's lovely. I can't keep your feet still when you're doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
It struck me while you're playing that, because I've been thinking all this time about what your hands are doing, but in fact you have to pull and push.
Yes, you do.
You're doing with the rhythm of the tune, is that right?
Yes.
So the faster the tune, the harder you're working there.
Yeah, very good for dancing too, because
Yeah.
it gives it that impact.
That's
you know.
right. That's why my foot was.
Yeah, very good. I mean, bands that use these, I think, are a lot more danceable bands than bands that use a piano accordion. Yeah, I love to hear that in there. And that's why they used more for Morris dancing than piano accordions. If I was to demonstrate any... Oh, there's one other thing I'd like to... The 1-row melodeon became very popular with Cajun musicians.
Oh, yes.
Now, Cajun musicians used to live in what is now Nova Scotia, and it was then called Acadia, but they were kicked out. They were exiled from Acadia, now Nova Scotia, in the 18th century, and settled in Louisiana, where they took their own music with them, and they called it Cajun. It's a kind of a slang. It always has a fiddle. It usually has a triangle. It quite often has one of those body plates that you rattle a piece of metal up and down.
Yeah.
And it always has one of these 4-stop accordions. And this is the Cajun tune called Bayou Pom Pom. Used for dancing the 2-step to. They're nearly always in the tempo that you can dance the 2-step to.
That is recognisably Cajun music, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's distinct from what you
is,
you played before.
Yeah. And always played on the 4-stop 1-row melodeon. I think they just call them all accordions, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote a protest song, which I think I could possibly manage to do for you. I get it out once a year. You see, the English concertina is great for just droning those chords. Just need 3 chords, really. Yeah. Will the world just keep on turning? Will the madness never cease? And will the heart continue yearning for a world of perfect peace? Will the world just keep on turning? Will the madness never cease? And will the heart continue yearning for a world of perfect peace? Young Daniel serves in Afghanistan. It's a wild and dangerous land. While at home, his parents, they can't understand why they've sent a boy to do a job that's started by a man. And will the world just keep on turning? Will the madness never cease? And will the heart continue yearning for a world of perfect peace? And in peace they come from many troubled lands, asylum to seek. For they're persecuted by our fellow man. One day this earth shall be inherited by all the meek. And will the world just keep on turning? Will the madness never cease? And will the heart continue yearning for a world of perfect peace? For a world of perfect peace. And still appropriate today.
Very true.
Written in the 1970s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's been a great pleasure talking to you, Stephen, and to listening to your songs and to all these fantastic squeezeboxes. Contraptions. I think are we allowed to call them squeezeboxes?
That's the generic.
That's what we shall call them then. It hardly seems to do them justice.
It's a lifetime thing, really.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe and tell your friends about it.